Hey everybody, I forgot to bring my mic with me, so I'm not using my mic, so I'm going to have to talk kind of fast and continue to talk, even if it's like 5 minutes of because if I do not stop talking, you're going to hear the music in the background. And when YouTube hears the music in the background, a lot of times they will say, nope, you can't have your video. So I'm going to keep talking, even if it's So this week we are talking about the Titans. Titans is a really good book. I really have always enjoyed the Titans. And so days 277 through 283 are all Titans books. And this is a week 41 of signed comics. And I started off with the Titans Legion special. And I think this actually, when you scan this, it actually comes up as a Legion special with the Titans. But I'm a Titans fan, so I have it listed as a Titans book. And this book is one of those books that's a true example of when you want to have a big team event book, you got to have an artist who can do that. And they had Ivan Reyes do it, so I have Mark Wade and Joe Prada has signed this book. And so I actually had them sign at the same con, which is about, let's say about 2 years ago. So, and what I'm working on right now is I'm working on the trading card for the Printer's Devil, and this is Bose. So you will find out about him when we have the release of the Printer's Devil. Which, remember, John's Longbox. He's doing issue 2. In fact, you literally just sent it to the printers. So I will have the link for the book in the description of the video. If you haven't backed the book, take advantage of the opportunity to back it before it's too late. So, but this book will be the Printer's Devil. It's going to be, I would say, maybe like 2 years from now, because it's going to be either book 5 or book 6. So that's when this book will be coming out. So, but I'm working on it now, and he's got other books that he's starting to show artwork from future books he's already has in the works. So you really look at it where it's like the only thing that's holding John back right now is having to do one book at a time with crowdfunding. So this is the Bose from the Printer's Devil, and I've talked about it in the past. So this book, Legion versus Teen Titans. Okay, this is an example of when you're doing a team book, you want to have an artist who does good team, who can do teams, which meaning that they can do multiple superheroes on the same page, and not just on the same page, but having like panel 1 has 10 heroes, maybe panel 2 is a close-up of 2 heroes, panel 3 is like 8 heroes. You got to have an artist who can draw a lot of characters in each panel. And I think about it, and I'm not wanting to throw shade at any artist, but there's some artists, they're good with doing one character, or like, let's say like Spider-Man, Daredevil. Let's use John Romita as the example. Okay, he does an extraordinary job when he's doing a one character, but when he has to do multiple characters, the storytelling isn't as strong as when he's doing, let's say, his run on Daredevil, or when he's doing a Spider-Man book. That's where his strength is. Whereas like George Perez, Phil Jimenez, Ivan Reyes, their strength is being able to do team books with lots of characters and still, with one panel, put an epic... I don't know how many times I've looked at Ivan Reyes' work, and it's one panel, but yet it has that feel of being a splash page, even though it's one panel. That's one of his strengths. And so this is the reason why I wanted this one signed and to show to you guys, is to show when you are doing a team book or an event book, like Marvel and DC, like specifically DC does a lot of event books with a lot of characters. You got to have an art team, a creative art team that understands the need to draw as many characters as possible in each panel. So So that's the reason why I had him sign. And then the next day, 278, I'm sorry. 278 is the new Teen Titans number 7, done by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. I really enjoyed this cover by George Perez on it. Jose did a great job with this artwork, and most importantly, did Jose not only do a great job with the artwork. I really enjoyed the Azrael character. Azrael's one of those characters where he really should have had more work done on him, and he's always one of those characters where it's like they just never really did anything with him. I would look at him, and if I was to bring him back, okay, if I were to bring him back, remember they had him in, the last time I remember seeing him was when they did the Brother Blood story, and he was indoctrinated into the Brother Blood Church, and he, at the end of the story, if I remember correctly, the cycle was broken because the wife of Brother Blood had a daughter instead of a son, and Azrael, and here's one of those was like the child was sent off to like a religious monastery, and Azrael was kind of like there in the trees, like looking after him. I look at Azrael as not just the name, but just how they wrote him, how they portrayed him. He would be a good book. If I wanted a character where I needed a priest with superhuman abilities, this is the character I would give. I would have him actually in like the black robes, keep him with his long hair, with the bandana around his head, especially with the curly hair. That curly hair gives it more of a biblical feel to the character, and have him as like a open religious. He prays. He is always reading from the Bible, and he uses it as a guidebook for his actions. Just as and basically, it's like, hey, the Bible is a tool, is a learning tool, not a doctrine of lecture, but a learning tool. And I would have him like that way. Along with, one of the things that I've always had problems with winged characters is characters look really cool, but the biggest problem with winged characters is they got wings. That's it. Hawkman has always stood out for me as the exception because they always give him offensive weapons. So if I were to have Azrael, I remember during the Crusades, bishops were going into war. They couldn't have like a sharp-edged weapon, so they didn't use swords. They would have maces or flanges. I would give Azrael like a staff, like a quarterstaff, and at the end of each quarterstaff, there's a mace. Not a mace like Hawkman with spikes on it, but just nubs on it, so he can render someone unconscious or injure someone by swinging the quarterstaff at them with the maces at either end, but not actually damage them. So that's how I look at how, if I were to bring Azrael back, that's how I would do him. So, and then of course, after that issue, we go into issues day 278 and 280. This is Titans with the Tom Grummett run, and that's the reason why he signed both these issues. Teen Titans 78 and 87. The reason why, here's the thing. I like this run the most of all the Titans runs. And the reason why I say that, it's very easy to be like, wait. You're talking about that whole, like this run of Titans done by George Perez with Trigon, or when they go into space again with him teamed up with the Omega Men, and with all the stories with Deathstroke the Terminator. You're putting that before this. The answer is yes, and here's the reason why. Is all of those runs, I didn't get them issue by issue. I was able to buy them in bulk and blocks. So I'd go to the store, go to the back issue bins, and I'd get like 5 issues of the Teen Titans all at once, and I could read through it. Okay, with this run, I was buying it issue to issue each month as it came out. So because of that, I'd read the issue. Then I had to wait a whole month before the next issue came out. So a lot of times I would reread it. I would read it. Then I'd go through it again, just looking at the artwork. So there's that anticipation of what's coming next with this story or this run of Titans done by Tom Grummett. So I was really, and plus also Tom Grummett, he had put the details in like George Perez, but he had a Kirby flair, if you will, of how he did his stuff, of how he did his pencils and whatnot. And you can see that later on when he did a run on Superboy, and they were putting him in kind of like as a commandy character, and basically a lot of Kirby story style. And as a result, he adapted his style, so it was Tom Grummett, but it also had a Kirby feel to it. And so with this run of Titans, I really liked Tom's stuff. And like I said, there was that anticipation of waiting for the next issue that I had with this run of Titans, as opposed to George and Marv's full run, which got us to this point. So that's the reason why when I say this is my favorite run, is because it was off the beaten trail from a standard Titans. I mean, all the Titans were captured, and so basically you had to come up with, like, you introduced new characters such as Panther and Phantasm, but then you also were able to reintroduce other characters that they hadn't really utilized in a while. So it's like, oh, I remember Raven's mom. Oh, we're getting to see more of Raven's mom. We're getting to see Garfield's stepfather more in this, because whereas in the past we'd see Logan's stepfather like in a panel or two, and that was it. And so this was one of my favorite runs, because it really brought, like, essentially the side characters forward into the spotlight, which, if you've been watching my videos, when I'm talking about signed comics, you'll know that I'm a big fan of the side characters. And that's the reason why whenever I had the opportunity to have a book signed, it's always one of those where it's like, okay, this is this artist, Keith Champagne. He's done a lot of JSA, he's done a lot of Superman, he's done the Batman. Oh wait, look at this issue they did with the Blue Bomber. Blue Bomber's one of my favorite characters. I'll have him sign that one because I really like the Blue Bomber, and he worked on this one issue. As John Longbox commented in one of my postings, is how, and he actually said in one of his videos, how I'll always be, he's always entertained by the fact that, and how I always go for the non-popular characters or the off-the-beaten-path books to talk about and whatnot, or that have been signed. And that's the reason why I get these sense that they're the books that I really like. And so, like, one of the biggest compliments I always get when I go to have books signed is, a lot of times the creators look at it and go, man, I haven't signed this book I haven't seen this book in a while, or I haven't thought about this book in a while. Or the biggest compliment they'll go is, did I work on this? And they'll actually open them. Well, yeah, I did work on it. Oh, okay. And it's like they'll flip through the book to remind themselves of the work that they did a while back. Because it's like Mark Bagley, when I had him sign Cyforce, he was like, did I work on this? I'm like, yeah. And he actually had to open it up and flip through. And he was like, oh yeah, okay, oh yeah, I didn't. And he was like, yeah, you did the backup story. He's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, this was really early in my career. And it's like, yeah, I know, but like, I would rather have, if I had the opportunity to have books signed, I would still have him sign my Cyforce books over the Ultimate Spider-Man, which is all you know how you had such a long run with Spider-Man, okay, and everybody else is walking up getting them to sign their Spider-Man books. I'm getting something different, and a lot of times I get that, I do it getting that response of, oh wow, I haven't seen something like this in a long time. That's like the biggest compliment any creator can ever say to me, is like, wow, I haven't signed one of these books in such a long time, or did I work on it? Holy crow, I did. That's the biggest compliment I can get from them, because it shows it's one of those where it's like, I'm not just, here's the thing, and I understand, okay, how when you go to shows, you can tell who the flippers are. Okay? Me, I'm not a flipper, and that's the reason why I'm proud of the fact that I walk up to them with a book that they haven't had signed, that they rarely ever sign, and they're like, "Wow, thank you for sharing this with me," and I like that. I like to check that stuff to get that type of a compliment. This upcoming weekend is going to be in Baltimore for the Baltimore Comic Con, and I'm anticipating I'm going to have a lot of creators telling me that as I have them sign books. So, and then of course, after that we have New Titans #1, signed by George Perez and Dan Jurgens. And here's the thing: I like this run, even though it wasn't successful, because we didn't really have any Titans, and it was new characters. I liked the team of George and Dan, but I understand why this book was not successful. Okay, the one thing about the Titans is the Titans, unlike the Justice League of America are basically super cops. Okay, they've got a large group of characters, and Firestorm, your shift is over. Red Tornado, your shift is beginning. So you don't have the same characters in every single issue. Whereas with Titans, it was always their family. Okay, keep in mind, in Justice League of America, okay, they never had their, like, in the satellite, okay, orbiting the Earth, they didn't have, and I'm talking about OG, they didn't have like their own quarters on the satellite. They was there, get on monitor duty. Oh, we got a threat. Call in the team. Call in the active members who are on duty at that time. Deal with the threat. Okay, time. Okay, my shift is over. Bring the new shift in. That wasn't the case with the Teen Titans. The Titans, first of all, even before, we're talking Nick Cardy days, it was the sidekicks hanging out, because like the superheroes would have the meetup, and the kids would be there tagging along, and they all became friends just hanging out. And then of course they started their own adventures. So when they started the Teen Titans again with George and Marv, they kept to that, where it's like these kids are friends. They aren't just teammates, they're friends. Teen Titans, Tower, they all lived in the tower together. So they all lived together. They woke up, had breakfast, argued like married couples, because they'd get on each other's nerves. Why? Because they're around each other so much. Whereas you didn't really have that with the Justice League of America. And that's the reason why this Titans book by George and Dan didn't take off, because you never got the sense of them being family like you did with the earlier versions of the team. And so I can understand why it didn't last long, even though I did enjoy it. And then after that we go to the Titans #25. Had the opportunity to for Paul Pellier and for Bud LaRosa to sign it, so had them sign it. And this was another a fun issue, because even though Paul was doing the primary pencils, you had some pages with Phil Jimenez, you had some pages with George Perez. It was a neat story where they were retconning Donna Troy for the umpteenth time. I mean, Donna Troy's one of those characters where it's like, I like her, but it's like, for God's sakes, come up with her origin, come up with her powers, and leave it a be. I mean, she's the one character where it's like they keep mucking with her. Stop mucking with her. Just leave her be. George and Marv came up with the best version of it, and when they brought her back with the Return of Don Troy, with the Titans, the Titans of Myth, being where that's where her powers came from, not from Paradise Island. Just stick with that. That's who she is, and leave her alone. So, I mean, yeah, keep in mind, she's the one character where they've mucked around the most. I mean, Jesus Christ, they killed off her husband or her son, and she's been like it's like every 10 issues she's banging a new Titan. I mean, she's really, I mean, I hate to say it, I mean, I like the character, but she's a fucking hoe. She's the hoe of the Titans. So, okay, guys, moving on. And then the last book of the day, or the last book of the week, which was yesterday, day 283, Teen Titans #1. Remember, Teen Titans originally started as a pitch from Rob Liefeld, and they went in a different direction, and he was getting pissed off with DC, pissed off with Marvel, so he created Youngblood. From what I understand, Youngblood is basically was his pitch for Teen Titans, and I like this version of Teen Titans, and of course, having the opportunity to have a book signed by not just by Kevin Maguire, but also by Adam Hughes, I had to get it signed. And again, Redwing. Redwing's a great looking character. Visually, she's really cool, but she's really a nothing character. Other than the fact that, oh, she's Redbird. She's got a red color scheme. She's got red wings. She can fly. That's it. I mean, Redwing is and you gotta keep in mind, most people looking at this, if you don't know Titans, you're looking like, who is this character? If you're not a Titan, and even then, most Titan fans are like, who? Oh, God, yeah, she was always. Why? Redwing was a blip on the radar of the history of the Titans. Why? Because she has wings and she flies. I mean, when you create a character who has flight abilities through wings, you gotta give them more to make them interesting and appealing. Visually, on a page, they might be cool, but even that cool shot can only last so long because, they're relatively easy to fight because even though they can fly, all you have to do is get another person who flies, and they're rendered. I mean, they don't. I'll fight you, but I'll fight you with my fists. But I mean, 9 times out of 10, they really don't have any type of offensive abilities other than flying and fighting. Okay, and even their fighting methods are relatively subpar, if you will. So, but okay, guys, 20 minutes in, so, and I think it did pretty good. I gotta give I got a motion to Nikki that you can turn up the music and make everybody else in the bar happy. Fortunately, it's right after the bar is just open, and everybody's just chilling, waiting for the game to start. So, guys, you have a great day. You know I'm having a great day. I'm gonna finish this up off screen. So until then, remember, guys, life is stressful. Take it all one dot at a time.